welcome back to Trees and Turtles. My name's Imogen and in today's video I'm sharing my experience with medication. I suffer from anxiety and depression and I'm going to talk a lot about both of those topics in this video, so a trigger warning for that and for general mental health stuff. With that being said, if you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that, give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram and let's get started. So, I've had both anxiety and depression since I was a young teenager, and I've had both for about 10 years now. I also had all the symptoms of OCD when I was younger, but these subsided after I left religion and I never got an official diagnosis. I started therapy at the age of 17 and I've continued to go intermittently ever since, which was the main clinical way I managed both of these mental health conditions. I had a lot of other coping mechanisms, but we'll talk about those later. So, when I was 21 at university, so last year, I was having a very stressful term and there was also a lot going on in my personal life. I'd had a lot of panic attacks as a teenager and they were horrible, but I hadn't ever had a bad one for years. So one night I came home and I had the worst panic attack of my entire life, which actually led to me being hospitalised. And when I was discharged from hospital, I was sent to my GP to discuss medication. Because, you know, I was 21, I was fairly healthy, and I just ended up in hospital because I had a really severe mental health condition, and they sort of took a look at me and they were like, right, you need to go to your GP and you need to get some medication. So I was really wary of starting on medication for several reasons. Firstly, I didn't want to become dependent on it. I didn't want to lose the hugely productive, albeit overwhelming energy, which anxiety gave me to get everything done. I was also wary of potential physical side effects. Now, I should state here that I'm on medication for anxiety and not depression, because my depression is quite well managed with my lifestyle factors, but it's just the anxiety that I'm medicated for right now. So I was wary of it for all of those reasons. And they offered me SSRI medication, which is commonly used to treat depression and anxiety by changing brain chemistry, but I felt the side effects would be too invasive, so I actually refused that. And then I was offered a type of medication called beta blockers, which essentially inhibit the production of adrenaline and slow the heart rate. So they don't actually do anything to change your brain chemistry like SSRIs do. What they do instead is they change the physical symptoms of anxiety, which in turn calms your brain down, right? So when you have a panic attack or when you're feeling really anxious, your heart rate will speed up and that sends a feedback to your brain being like, oh no, your heart's beating really fast, there must be a threat around here. So then your brain gets even more amped up and it's like, oh no, where's the threat? And it's just looking for a threat and it's maybe making trivial things into a threat, and then that makes your heart beat faster and you have a panic attack and then you go to hospital, which is what happened to me. So don't do that. Instead, when you take beta blockers, what they do is your brain's going oh no, there's a threat, but the beta blockers actually slow your heart rate down and your heart's like, no, everything's fine, we're not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger, everything's fine. And then your brain goes, wait, really? And your heart rate's like, yeah, everything's chill, man. And then your brain goes, oh, okay, all right, and turns off the alarm, right? So that's basically how beta blockers work. My brand of beta blockers is called propranolol, which I could not initially pronounce. It's been several months of me trying to pronounce that, and I may still be doing it wrong. But anyway, the body is removed from fight or flight mode by reducing the physical symptoms of anxiety, basically. So, I reluctantly agreed to start taking beta blockers because I knew that my own coping mechanisms, which included things like listening to music, journaling, meditating, being out in nature, getting enough sleep, all of that, I was doing the most, okay? I was doing the most, but it was still not working. And I really wanted to avoid going back to hospital because I asked the doctor when I got to hospital, what's stopping this from happening again? And she said, there's literally nothing. This could happen again tomorrow and you could be back in hospital. And that was a really big reality check for me because that was a horrible experience and I really didn't want to go back to hospital. So I was like, well, what have I got to lose, realistically? I had been warned that I could have another panic attack at any given time, and it just really scared me. I was like, I don't ever want to experience that again. So let's take some medication. So when I started on the medication, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel, but literally the first night I took it, I immediately noticed that when I took it and when I stayed on my meds, my heart rate slowed and I was able to think a lot more rationally and get a lot more done, worry-free. The first night of sleep I had on meds was one of the most relaxing nights of sleep of my life. Like, genuinely so relaxing, I slept like a baby, okay? And I was actually amazed by how much better the medication helped me to function, and I haven't had a major panic attack like the one which put me in hospital since, okay? Although, to be fair, I have had like anxiety episodes because I have anxiety, but it is manageable because I'm on meds, okay? I would eventually like to get my anxiety under control enough for me to gradually stop taking the medication, but for now it's a really good solution for me, and in conjunction with all my other coping mechanisms, it kind of enables me to lead a fairly normal life. Because that's what I realised once I started taking medication is, oh, this is just basically bringing me back to a normal level of adrenaline that most people have. Like, most people aren't constantly looking around for threats. Most people don't spend their entire life in fight or flight mode. So basically, this medication was just bringing my adrenaline levels down to normal, and I was like, wow, this is how most people feel all the time. This is crazy. Anyway, none of my worries came true. So, I'm not dependent on it. I've had time off the medication. I've been fine. I've gone back on it, okay? I find it helps me function better. Like, I can function without it, but it helps me function better. I haven't lost my energy for being productive. And the only physical side effect I feel is a slower, i.e. normal, heart rate, which is the whole point anyway, because my heart, when I was taken into hospital, one of the paramedics said, like, my heart rate was just going wild, right? So I couldn't sustain that because it was putting a lot of strain on my heart, and they basically said that we've got to get this down. And basically what the medication does was just bring it down to normal. So this is how most people feel all the time, which is great. I should point out here that medication is not necessarily the right thing for everyone, okay? In fact, it might be useless to some people. It might be. But I tried it when literally nothing else was working, and it honestly changed my life. So medication is not scary, okay? It's not going to turn you into a zombie. It's not going to make you dependent. It's not going to do anything bad if you follow the instructions that your doctor gives you, and if you make sure that you take the right dose, okay? Medication is not scary. It's there to help you, and you can live a very fulfilled and happy life while taking it. I regularly take anxiety medication, and I live a very fulfilled and happy life. I really want to help destigmatize mental health medication, because there's still a lot of like shame around it. It's like, oh my gosh, that she's on meds. Like, what's wrong with her? Genuinely, nothing, because I'm taking my meds, okay? I mean, there's still a lot wrong with me, but that's probably not to do with my anxiety. That's probably just my personality. Anyway, there shouldn't be the shame around medication that there is. And I just really want to help destigmatise that by talking about it. Not everyone needs meds or will benefit from them. But if you do, there is no shame in that, and they will probably help you a lot. So that's my experience with medication. Please drop any questions in the comments. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that. Give this video a thumbs up. Follow me on Instagram, and I will see you next time. Okay, take care of yourselves. Bye.